Hey guys, I'm Lee from Lee Likes Music, the place to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp. And in today's video, we are going to look at a brand new indie album from Bandcamp. It's called Wax And Wane, and it's released by a band called We Exist. So that's coming up. So when I put on one of the songs from this album, Wax And Wane, I wanted to imagine a short story or a world, and I started writing down some notes about what I started to visualize. I imagined this patient at this old-fashioned psychotic hospital. There's pillows everywhere. He's wearing a stress suit. It's a very bright room. And for some reason, this guy called Frank grows more and more insane. He is stuck in this downward spiral, sort of, and in his mind, he is seeing butterflies everywhere. And he starts to stab all of these butterflies with a pen. Suddenly, they turn into burning dollar bills. They fall to the ground around him and form a burning circle. In his mind, it looks like a sadistic ritual, but it is only in his mind. For some reason, he swaps right back into reality again after visualizing this. He's not experiencing any visions. He's taken outside the hospital and being led by a nurse. I think she's sneaking him out. And when he's eventually outside, the nurse just walks in again, and he walks home as if nothing had happened. And as he walks towards the horizon into the sunset, this is the background music. What you're hearing here is Liquid Rat Race. It's a 10-second snippet from the song, and I don't know, for some reason this was one of the songs that really stood out to me. But anyway, that was a really weird story that I just came up with when I listened to the song. Let's get into the review, okay? So the first song is called Digital Fingers Glory, and it has this Western tune going on. There's a Western melody that is played by the bass and the guitar. It has a very dramatic mood, but at the same time it is very progressive. It's very versatile and fleshed out, I feel. There's a lot of different instruments and clashing soundscapes going on here. And one of the bands that this song reminds me of is Tomahawk, for any of you guys who have heard of those before. That's another great band, by the way. The second track is called Charlie Runs Amok. This is another progressive track. It features these time signatures that are obviously progressive. They're a bit more complex. The synth and the guitar lines that you'll hear later on in the song remind me a little bit of Gentle Giant, another progressive rock band. So throughout the songs here, as you'll hear me state, there are several influences that you can trace back to, which is kind of cool. It becomes sort of like a puzzle. You're trying to find out where they got their inspiration from. It might not have been those exact bands, but at least I find traits throughout the whole album, and it's kind of cool. Personally, I found this to be one of the weaker tracks because it was quite repetitive, and there wasn't any type of hook that I could just grab onto and instantaneously like. And I've been listening to this song for quite some time, and it really hasn't grown on me at all, so yeah. Track number 3, though, is a more outstanding track. It's called Crack the Code. When I listen to the song and the context, the lyricism, I immediately imagine this David Lynch movie. It has this very dark atmosphere to it. The song features these technical polyrhythms on the drums, and what I also like about the song is that it focuses more on storytelling. It tells more of a congruent story. The story is about this girl who is in a shelter, and she's hearing this countdown over the speakers in her city, in her town. But this shelter, this war that is going on outside, might just be a psychological issue or a thing she's experiencing inside her mind. She heard a countdown. Her shelter was her own arms. She heard that countdown, then a blast inside her core. I feel like the dynamics in the song, the push and pull of energy, is very balanced. You have a verse that is leading up to something bigger, which is the chorus, and you feel like there's a release and buildup of tension, which is really nice. A Lesser Evil is the fourth track, and it has this industrial-esque drum pattern going on in the verse and in the intro. It's a very dystopian mood and melody here. You hear this gravelly synth that kind of adds another level of depth and darkness to the track. Again, this also reminds me of Tomahawk, one of Mike Patton's bands, and it also kind of reminds me a bit of Amplifier. This ghostly, dark soundscape is resonating throughout the whole track, and the kinetic energy is very flat. There's not a lot of highs and lows in terms of the instrumental arrangement or the energy that is put out. Fifth track is another outstanding track. It was the one that I mentioned earlier on in this video. It's called Liquid Rat Race. It's a very intense and rumbling sound that immediately hits you. Up until 3 minutes into the song, the different segments are a tad repetitive, but 3 minutes and 20 seconds in, you hear this very interesting vocal patterns that are overlapping each other, and it's kind of making the track a lot more dramatic and lofty. There's also this instrumental part during the end of the song where you basically have violins, horns, guitars, these intensive drums kind of merging together to create this climax, which at the end of the day, at the end of the song, results in an anticlimax. It's just stopping on a dime where you would expect it to just take off, but it doesn't. So it's kind of nice to hear this. It's really surprising when you hear it. Track number 6 is called Eerie Fables and Small Faces, and yet another easily forgettable track. The mood and the melodies kind of give off this Tool vibe. For you guys who are a fan of Tools, maybe you will resonate with that. If you listen to the very early segments of the song, you have the bass and the guitars kind of playing these Tool-esque, dark, shady melodies. Now, if you listen to the chorus, you might hear a completely different influence. I hear Omar Rodriguez Lopez, his playing style in Mars Volta. I immediately hear that in the chorus. Again, for some reason, I can trace this music back to so many different sources, and and that was what I found to be a little bit fun with this record. The song is a little bit tedious though. There's no hook, there's no very outstanding thing that I've never heard before here. So yeah, it was kind of boring at the end of the day. I tried to listen to it a lot, but I still couldn't like it more. It didn't grow on me. Track number 7, on the other hand, is a much more outstanding track. It's called All Modulars, and it has this deep and dominant Les Claypool-ish bass segment during the intro and verse. Yes, another reference. I love the very melodic and angular guitars in the after chorus, but the clash between the weird, rickety, bouncy verse and the after chorus feels a little bit odd, and it puts me a bit off. But anyways, it was still one of the more outstanding tracks nonetheless. Wax and Wane by We Exist was a positive listen. It was interesting to listen to this. When I searched for albums on Bandcamp, I wanted to find something that was a little bit different. I feel like they are taking loads of inspiration from other artists, something that I wasn't hoping for. I wanted to hear something completely new and something that is really synthesized in a very original way at least. And they were initially doing that for me, but as I started to listen more and more to this album, I figured out that, you know, it is original in its way, but it's not cohesive. They don't have this very authentic power, this thing that they're bringing forth that really sets the tone and makes them authentic. That is not something that I'm finding in this album and in their music. Wax and Wane by We Exist. I'm gonna give this album a 6 out of 10. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you like to share, explore, and learn about rock music from Bandcamp, then I highly suggest you click the red subscribe button below. Also, make sure you hit that bell icon beside the subscribe button, because in that way you'll always get notified when I upload new videos to this beautiful place right here. Thank you, guys. Hope to see you later. Bye.